All right, UFC 219 in the books.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit.
Wasn't too bad, huh?
That was amazing. I'm biased on my boy Khabib.
I'm kind of crushed on my girl losing.
Holm.
But she took it. Well, we'll talk about that.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
For those of you just tuning in,
there
goes your two main fights.
Yeah, they know how I feel about her. So.
Wow. All right, we'll break it down from the beginning. Obviously, you guys probably know what the results are. We're putting a spoiler alert on this on most of the forums.
Let's start. Let's do the main card. Who gives a shit about the prelims, huh?
No. I mean, yeah, we'll do the main card for save time.
Yeah.
Neil Magny, Carlos Condit. What was your take on that?
I mean, I love Carlos Condit. He looks old.
Yeah.
Look a little, like you said, flat.
Like me.
Well, even though you're probably 4 years older than him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it sucks when you see fighters kind of get to that stage where they start leveling off. I'm not saying he looks old and can't fight. Who knows what could have happened? This is one of the things about the sport. Sometimes you're sick. You know, sometimes fight camp didn't go right. In that case, you have to assume that he might be getting old and then just kind of like, you know, flattening out a little bit.
Everybody, I mean,
he's
fought
a beast,
an entire
man.
video game roster, if you will, of people.
Huge fan of Carlos Condit. Always have been. He's fought at the best. He's beat the best. It was a big win still for
lost
Neil
to the
Magny.
best too. I mean, it's not like he's losing to.
Yeah.
You know, Magny's coming up. I mean, obviously, it's a spoiler alert. A decision. We gotta, I guess, tell who won the fight.
Yeah, for sure. We're recapping this thing. So, obviously, Neil Magny won. But yeah, I mean, it was a big win for Neil Magny as well. It wasn't the war that I thought it would be with Carlos. Carlos goes in there, and usually, no matter who he fights, I mean, they don't call him the natural born killer for nothing.
Just a lot of takedowns, and what can you do? You know.
But Neil Magny won. He got the victory and is moving himself higher up the ladder. So
Condit hadn't
hats
fought
off to him.
16 months or something. So
yeah,
like, you know, ring rust. He's old.
Just over a year. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think 16 months.
So
yeah, crazy.
So anyway, Condit lost via decision.
Yeah.
Neil Magny.
Yeah, wasn't the fight we expected, but you know, and like I said, it was sad just a little bit because man, I'm such a huge Carlos Condit fan, so I was excited to see him come back, and hopefully that was just a little bit of rust, and maybe he'll come and get back to his ways and have an exciting, really, you know, deep battle in his next fight. Hopefully,
we may. I mean, hell.
I love Carlos Condit. Love watching him fight for sure. So. The next fight we had Esparza versus Calvillo. I hope I got that right.
You did.
I did? Okay, thank you for that confirmation. Esparza obviously being the former champion, and Calvillo. Great fight. Go ahead and break it down for everybody, Marc.
There was I wasn't here. I ain't gonna lie. I left to go get.
Go ahead and tell everybody why you weren't here for that one.
Well, it's not that I didn't care, but I was hungry, and it was 8 a.m. and.
Well, the real reason was you were supposed to wake up early.
Fuck you, it's my only day off, man.
You were supposed to wake up early, go get breakfast.
I can't get up at 6 to go get breakfast at a place that doesn't open till 8.
Yeah, but the fight didn't start till 10.
Yeah, well, I was sleeping, so.
God, your times are all off. But either way, you were supposed to get breakfast. Yeah. You overslept, so you had to pick a fight, and you picked that fight.
So tell me, well, I mean, what did I miss?
Okay, it was a good fight. Esparza, very technical, and, you know, to me, I think Calvillo, again, I hope I'm getting this right. I feel bad if I'm not getting the name right, but I think she did really, really good. And to be honest with you, I missed a little bit of the second round. I really didn't know.
Where'd you go?
I don't know. I think I was tweeting about something.
So it was a boring fight?
No, it wasn't boring.
You're tweeting?
I was tweeting, but there was like a serious tweet that had to happen.
What, to make
ribs? It was a tweet moment, and I missed a little bit of the second round. But that being said, I didn't really know at the end of the fight who was going to win. I mean, it was that close. It was a close fight. Esparza finished really strong, good flurry, and she got the win. Why you? You missed the fight, and now you're busting my balls for doing a tweet.
Would you rather have bacon, eggs, and the?
And I was eating, so I was probably like looking down as I was eating and tweeting. I was
getting it. You couldn't have eaten while I was gone.
Oh, that's right.
Just say it. It was a boring fucking
fight. But you
fight.
came back at the end.
I didn't see a single thing. I came back when Dan Hooker was.
Oh, he was already coming out, huh?
Yeah.
I was eating something else. I had some other food.
Yogurt?
I don't know, man. I was tweeting. I was tweeting.
Well, anyway, I'm glad I missed that
Give me a break. It was a good fight, though. No disrespect to them.
No, honestly, I'm sure. I mean, it still takes a lot of
But it was just back and forth,
Fortitude
back
to
and
get
forth,
in there.
takedowns, and it wasn't like crazy, like, you know, knockouts going on or anything. But it was a good match. And
So can we go back right now and we rewind it? You watch it with me?
if you want,
Would you watch it again?
I'd watch it again.
Huh. No fucking way you would.
Why you? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, dude. I'm not saying it was a boring fight.
But I can be. It's kind of like my job on this show.
All right, well, go ahead. But either way,
Well, I
it was
didn't
a good
say it,
fight.
so-
It was very close. Esparza won. You know, she's moving herself back up. She's the former champion. Calvillo, hats off to her. She's got a good career ahead of her. She's with Team Alpha Male. I think she was 6-0 going into this fight. So I don't think there's any real big downside in this loss against Esparza, so former champion. So that was that. And
I don't see a real downside of me missing
it's
this
uncomfortable when we're doing like a recap and you're like
Well,
gone.
here.
I'm trying to like hold it down by myself, and then
fight. No, I get it. You got to be,
I get
like
caught
I said,
tweeting in the middle.
you got to be the respectful one. But I just, if it sucked, it sucked. I mean,
You weren't even here, so you can't say that.
judging by your enthusiasm when I came back,
It was okay. It was a good match. It was a good technical match.
should it have been the main event? Is that what
It's
you're
just
getting
the biggest thing. It was close, and so it was one of those things where
at? Well,
I
what
think
was
a
there,
lot of the people thought Calvillo was going to win that fight.
Well, the whole card, there's 10 fights, 7 were decision,
Mm-hmm.
1 draw. Which
I don't think there was a knockout, right?
no.
So it was a knockout-less card. Yeah, it's not often that happens anymore.
Like the last part of your career.
Mm.
Is it too much?
Mm.
You never got knocked out.
Oh, that's where you.
That's
okay.
where I was going with it.
Okay.
Thought I was making fun of your fighting style.
Yeah.
Come on, Mike.
All right, buddy.
You're quicker
Moving
than
on.
that.
Moving on. So we had Dan Hooker coming back and fighting Marc Diakese.
I believe so.
Yeah, and that definitely wasn't the fight that I expected. I mean, I don't know if I really expected much out of that fight, to be honest.
I expected at least some punches landed or something the first 2
I'm
rounds.
just saying it wasn't like like we used a riveting fight or anything, but Diakese was definitely playing defensive a lot and holding back a lot. And for a guy who's 12-1 with only a split decision loss, I figured he'd be aggressive and coming out there and being
Well,
dominant.
I can say it. You're more politically correct than I am. Those first 2 rounds were boring.
Yeah.
Sheep watch that fight to go to sleep.
Wow.
Fun fact, huh?
Well,
and then he did get. You got to give Dan.
he finished it though. You got to give it to him.
May I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know this Dan Hooker fella. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but you kind of know your audience. He called out. I guess you'd call out the UFC. Hey, I want to fight in Perth in February. What do you guys think? And then they booed him. So
yeah. So he
I think-
called out to the Vegas crowd.
yeah,
How
I think
bad
you just
do you guys
solidify-
want to see me fight in Perth?
I think you just solidify that you're not going to be on that card.
No, I mean he might make it on that card, but he's not going to get like a big ovation from Vegas
No, he won't be on that card.
to fight in Perth. But
You know
it's
who
better.
will be at-
It's always better to call out an opponent. Then you get fans of the opponent that are in the audience or whatever that might want to see that
Well,
fight.
Who will be at that fight?
We will. We're definitely going to be
We're
that
right
fight.
there.
Hey, listen, I do want to say this. So, to me, when I broke down this fight, Dan Hooker seems like the type of guy who's kind of waiting for that big opportunity, right? He fights in a way where it's kind of I don't think he's like a super athletic, super talented. I don't want to say he's not talented. He's a talented fighter, but he's not like a fighter that's always going out there throwing things, trying stuff, looking for the finish. He's like a calculated sort of just kind of a guy that's just waiting in there for that big move, that big submission or that big strike or that big, and he just waits around and he got it, So I mean, it worked for him.
I mean, respect him. He did beat a
Yeah.
guy who's 12-1. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not here
it
trying
worked.
to bash him, of course. I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
the guy
for sure.
personally, but just from a fan's perspective, which I am,
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, best of luck to him. I hope he does well. I hope he's on that card. I don't know. I'll go shake his hand. I'll apologize for this last comment if he's on that card,
Yeah.
but he won't be. So,
No. He's a good fighter for sure. But like I said, he's one of those fighters that kind of just waits for the right opportunity, and that's good for strategy. But when you're looking for a war, you're looking for an exciting fight. Sometimes it doesn't make for the best ones, And that fight was kind of slow because of that, for sure.
but again, the guy was 12-1 he beat. So,
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
respect to you.
And again, he's moving himself back up, But moving himself back up to what? Because at the top of the heap right now, I mean, you're first. Well, I guess now you're number one contender, who's not even an interim champion and is not even a champion, is absolutely unbeatable. That guy's an absolute beast.
He's literally. Are you talking about Khabib?
Khabib.
Yes.
He's an absolute beast. I
The
mean, so the
beauty
thing
of
about
that
it
guy is he's. I don't think he. Of course, he doesn't have a belt, but he's still, in my eyes, top 4 pound for pound fighter in the world, and he's not even a champion. That should say something about that.
I mean,
You know.
I venture to say he's definitely high ranked in the pound for pound. I mean, he's beat Dos Anjos. I mean, he's beat some of the best fighters in the sport and beat him absolutely
This fight,
dominantly.
Jesus Christ! What was? By the way, spoiler. I guess we got to tell him who won.
Obviously,
We're really shitty at this recap stuff. We
Yeah,
just get excited to talk.
we're just
about
pumped up about this
Yeah.
Khabib fight. But yeah, obviously Khabib wanted a decision over Edson Barboza, and I just want to say for the record that Barboza, man, it's very rare that you see a fight where you got a guy who's losing arguably 10-8 every single round. I mean, one of the
Well,
judges,
yeah,
he had it 10-8 every single round.
Jesus.
And the other judges had it 10-8 2 rounds. That's absolute, like a mauling. But it's very rare that you see a fight like that.
Against the number 1 contender or number 2, whatever.
But to see a fight where it's that one-sided, but you're still giving so much credit to Barboza. I mean,
you have to, man.
You can't. Usually, you're like, oh man, that guy doesn't deserve to
was,
be there. He shouldn't be in the UFC. That guy, he's not on this level. But it's like you look at Barboza and you're like, damn. I mean, every one of his leg kicks up until the very end were powerful.
Yeah.
His strikes were powerful, even when he was exhausted, beat, just mauled to death.
I don't have my
he never
figures
gave up.
in front of me, but it was 170 strikes to 28.
Yeah, 100. I thought it was 120 something, but
No, 120 were significant.
Okay.
And this was an ass whooping. I mean,
for sure it was. For sure it was. But you know what? I think that stylistically for Khabib, I think Barboza was probably the toughest test in that division for him. Because
we got scared at first with those leg kicks and stuff. I mean, it was.
Yeah, well, you could see. Okay, so he landed a few of the leg kicks, and they were hard. And then you noticed that Khabib was putting the pressure on, and I knew that was a strategy. I was in part of Khabib's fight camp at AKA. I went back home and was part of his fight camp, like watching and coaching. He was trained with Salim from AKA Thailand. It was pretty cool, man.
Good old Salim.
It was great watching his fight camp. I mean, he's a savage, and he trains and spars all the time. That's why he looks so conditioned and so well. So I knew that the strategy was going to be pressure, right? And so going into the fight, I assumed he would put so much pressure that Barboza wouldn't be able to get off those kicks. He'd be constantly backing up and constantly getting grappled and taken to the ground. I was very surprised that Barboza could land those inside leg kicks and the strikes that he did in such a short range. And being defensive as he was, going backwards.
And being rocked the whole fucking time.
And, of course, throughout the fight, as it went on, being rocked, being tired, knowing that he was losing for sure and going to that third round.
I don't punch the clown that much.
Yeah, but he was like, I mean, hats off to him, dude, for being just an absolute warrior. But, I mean, I think there's no greater point you could make than Khabib beating Barboza like that. I mean, if Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor aren't scared of that fight,
let me tell you what's going to happen.
They're not human.
McGregor's not going to fight because he's going to want $400 million, half ownership of the UFC, part of Bellator, whatever the hell else this guy's going to want. So it's just he's got to give up the belt and let it be Khabib and Ferguson.
The thing about it is, okay, so here's the deal with that. So Conor is, in my opinion, super, super lucky that Tony Ferguson has the interim belt because technically that's who he has to fight next. So
he can beat Ferguson. He can't beat Khabib.
That's a good fight. That's a good fight. I mean, that's a good scrap that I would love to see. Conor McGregor versus Ferguson. Not as much I'd like to see Khabib versus Conor McGregor or Ferguson, but that's a good fight. And that's a fight where Conor, if he wants to make some more money, and he's getting the itch to fight again, he's got a lot of money. But like Dana said, you can only take so many trips and spend so much money, and eventually you're going to want to get back in the game. I mean, how many UFCs can you watch when you're the champ? It's one thing when you're like a contender or you're just mid-level, but when you own that division and you see these guys fighting, that ego inside of you wants to get back in there and show you're the king. You want to get back in there. So he's going to want to have another fight again, no doubt. He's already mentioned it, and I can definitely tell you from being a fighter, he's going to definitely have that hunger. And I just think he's really lucky that he has Tony Ferguson in front of him, because man, God forbid if Tony Ferguson wasn't there and Khabib was the only choice he had, he might not fight.
I don't think he's going to fight anywhere.
I think he'll fight Tony. I think he'll give Tony the fight, try to make his payday, get his money, maybe get the win. And if he gets the win, he'll vacate the title. If Tony wins, Tony fights Khabib. And with everything in my mind, I cannot imagine Conor McGregor taking the Khabib fight. I mean, Khabib is everything that Conor McGregor doesn't want in a fight. A guy who will be relentless, a guy who will not stop. He can't match his gas tank.
He took some shots tonight, too.
He can't match his gas tank. He can't match his pressure. Not even close to matching his wrestling and his grappling.
Oh, nobody can.
Not even close. So how is he going to beat him? How is he going to beat him? He's going to have to beat him by landing one punch, like a solid punch. And that's what Khabib is the best at defending. I mean, he's the best at his head movement, coming in with the clinch. And he did a great job tonight with those flying knees to close the distance, to get to the clinch, to get to the takedown.
I saw in the ground and pound, I saw him miss one punch and hit the canvas. Other than that, he hit him, well, obviously 120 times.
Yeah.
He's literally 120 for 121 on punches.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How do you beat that? You can't.
And the thing that I think that could get through to Khabib is the leg kicks. You know, like if he was in range, what Barboza proved was you didn't have to be in range. He did it from being in really close and really tight, and he was still landing those powerful leg kicks. And what I was getting to a while ago was, if you notice, after about, I think, the third leg kick in that first round, you could tell they were really hard. You saw Khabib pick up his speed coming in. He went from like walking forward and putting pressure to actually jogging.
Smart fighter.
He was jogging forward because he didn't want to keep getting kicked, and he wasn't walking fast enough to close that distance to where Barboza couldn't kick. So he literally started jogging to close that distance. And then the 3 spinning back kicks to the head. I mean, he connected 3 spinning back kicks, which have knocked out multiple people in Barboza's career. And he took them. I mean, you could hear the impact of those, you know, that heel hitting the back of his head, at the side of his head, whatever it was. And he didn't even budge. He didn't even budge, man. I mean, he just...
All those guys said he didn't have a chin and all that stuff. I think...
He took kicks. I mean, it's
he
one
shut
thing,
up a lot of
it's
people
one thing
today.
to take a punch. It's another thing to take a kick from probably one of the best kickers in the division and take multiple kicks that were really hard and walk through them without even a sign of anything.
Did you hear what he said post-fight? Well, post-fight when he brought up Hav, how cool was that?
That was awesome. I'm so happy to see Hav get credit because Hav put so much time into these guys. I'm AKA all the way, obviously, and Hav's one of my best friends. But, you know, he does so much for these guys, and it's good to see guys so humble being at the top as Khabib, where he doesn't forget. And DC's another one. DC's another guy that's at the top that never forgets, you know, where he came from, who helped him, who his teammates are. He's always shown respect to the team. He's always shown respect to Javier. And like, man, it was so nice to see Khabib bring him in and, like, include him in his post-fight speech. And, like,
well, it was nice to see 20% of all of our podcasts members.
Two of our guys in our first 14 episodes.
Yeah, when you're a guest, I guess you just win, you know?
Yeah.
So Holly Holm, you know, get at me.
Yeah. Come on the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast and get you a win.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
So we got Daniel Cormier coming up next, but yeah, we had Hav and sitting there watching Hav. Well, we had Hav, Dana, and Khabib.
Oh yeah.
In the ring at the same time, and they're all 3 guests of our first 14 podcasts.
26% of our.
Yeah, I don't know percentage wise. It's too early.
I'm just making shit up. I'm sure I'll get hate mail, but it's 28.9%.
It's in Thailand, so it's early for us. But
yeah, by the way, we had to get up at 7 a.m. to watch this fight for you guys. So
yeah, I was wide awake though, man. I couldn't wait.
I wasn't.
I had to wake you up.
Yeah, you had to.
I did, because you were supposed to get breakfast, and then you didn't, and that's why you missed the fight. And
wow, why don't you just call me out on?
I'm just saying, dude, you missed a UFC fight because you had to get breakfast. Man. But I will say it was amazing breakfast. But seriously, anyway, I can't say enough about the Khabib fight, man. Like, seriously, and I want to say, okay, so you looked this up recently. I've known Khabib for like forever. I mean, not forever, but for a long time. Trains at AKA headquarters. I was in Thailand at the time, so we just see each other back and forth when I'm back at headquarters. Now everybody, and we all do it. Joe Rogan, Dana, Javier, myself, everybody will say Khabib, and we'll say Habib.
You literally got to clear your throat when you say his name correctly.
Because Habib is not in our language. So
you literally have to
fast.
You have to hold a for like, I think, 1/8 of a second.
So the proper way for you guys, just to give you guys a little heads up, the proper way to say his name from what we, I guess, are told, and
Khabib.
It's Habib.
How educational. Khabib. How educational is this show?
Yeah. Huh? But when you're talking fast, you just want to say Khabib or Habib. And I do. And if you've listened to this podcast and you rewind it, I've probably said Khabib and Habib back and forth this entire time, just because I'm saying it so fast, and we don't have Khabib in our relationship. In our language.
Relationship?
Yeah, definitely not in a relationship.
What the fuck are you talking about?
In our language, we don't have ha, you know?
I think we've hacked enough loogies on these fucking mics.
Okay.
Let's move on.
So, but anyway,
we
can't talk enough about that fight, man. That was just an absolute, to put on a performance like that. And I mean, he's had a long time off. He's had I think 11 months. He fought November, I believe, against Michael Johnson. So he's had almost 12 months. I mean, almost 13. No, he's had 13 months off.
Let me get you a calendar for New Year's.
Maybe you do that. I'm so lost in time over here in Thailand because Christmas doesn't seem like Christmas. They barely celebrate
Somebody
it.
tell us it was
It's
Christmas.
New Year's Eve tonight. I mean, it barely feels like that.
Yeah, but not in America, so it's...
Yeah.
well.
So anyway, but so he's had a lot of time off, and apparently ring rust was not an issue. And the funny thing is, we had this argument with Dana White. Not argument, but Dana White's made comments about Team AK training too hard and sparring too much. I wanted to say for the record, just so that you guys know, a lot of you guys come to AKA Thailand. A lot of the fighters think they know what's going on. The ones that don't want to take coaching, and they've not listened to Hav too. I've seen people not listen to Hav, and guess where they're at? Guess what their names are? They don't make it, right? You got to listen to your coaches.
I want to name some of them.
You got to trust your coaches, and you got to listen to them. And if they're wrong, and they will be sometimes, it's just part of the game. You're going to be wrong. Your coaches are going to be wrong. Everyone's going to be wrong.
How good was the coaching tonight in all the fights that we could hear when they go to the corners?
Yeah, for sure.
All of it was, except for one.
For sure. But what I'm getting at is, I mean,
listen to your coaches, or you won't be there.
You've thrown me completely off.
How?
But the point is, so what I'm saying is, Hav, he had the thing with Dana. Well, he was trying to change the training a little bit just to tone it down because we were losing a lot of people to injuries. But Dana was making comments as far as, AK trains too hard. We miss a lot of fights. We get injured. But I do want to say for the record that Khabib.
Oh, welcome to Thailand.
We just lost electricity. But the computer's on battery, so I think we're still recording.
All right, well, let's keep going. Let's do this.
We're gonna keep going in the dark. Yeah. Where's that light at, dude? Where's our little?
Right to your left.
Hold up.
We're
back.
Fuck. Let's get it anyway.
Get it. Grab it, because I got my headset on. Right. So that's a little Thailand for you guys. If you're on the audio platforms listening to this podcast, he's getting his head caught in the microphone, and we didn't get to use our disco ball, but the lights just went out.
I forgot how to do it.
So anyway, if anything else could possibly distract me from my point here. Oh, that's really distracting me from my point. The point is, Khabib trains and spars more than anyone at the gym, literally. Look at the way he fights. Look at his performance. So it's like one of those things where it's like you can argue that people train too hard. We get these guys that come in and like, man, I just want a technique spar. I'm going to save my body. Sparring 2 or 3 days a week is too hard. For some people, when you get to a certain age, I agree with that. Maybe you have to tone it down a little bit because you're old. And if you get injured, then yeah, you're not going to perform. But you're fighting. You're a fighter. And Khabib's been fighting since he was a kid. And you can see it. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it. He trains and spars more than anybody at AKA. And this is what happens. I mean, he absolutely mauls people.
Definitely happy for him, for the team, for everything.
Yeah. So anyway, we won't keep going about that. Obviously, the big main fight of the night, Holm, your girl, and Cris Cyborg. Cris Cyborg once again proving she is the best female fighter in the world. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Big hats off to Holm for jumping up and moving up a weight class. Yeah. And she's 36. I mean, she's not that young.
She's younger than us.
But she's still not young. I'm retired, but to jump up a weight class, fight a girl like Cyborg at 36 years old, that's tough. And she put on a hell of a fight, took her to a decision, landed some good stuff. Her first round looked good.
I was going to say, if it was only a one-round fight, Holly would be champion.
I think she, in my opinion, I thought she won the first round.
She did.
She had no answer.
The judges did too.
She had no answer for Holly putting her on the cage. I mean, she just
too powerful, man. I mean,
if Holly could have landed some knees and a little bit more strikes as she had her on the cage, I would have ventured to say that should be the game plan for the whole fight.
I wish she'd have mixed it up a little bit. It was about 75 straight left hands.
She was doing really good with the combinations, like the flurries in the beginning. She landed like 3 solid combinations, but then Cyborg, I love it. I love her yelling like that. But then Cyborg caught on, and then Cyborg started countering her, especially with that right hand when she'd move into that right side of Cyborg. So then she started doing the next best thing was feinting. So she would feint a few before she would come in, but then she was just getting countered like every time. But the one thing that was working, and our corner was saying this toward the end of the rounds, or the later rounds, was to clinch her against the wall because she somehow had the power to hold Cyborg against the cage, and Cyborg couldn't really do anything about it. Now, had she kept her on the cage for the majority of the round, or at least a good part of it, and landing knees and elbows and little strikes the entire time, I mean, who knows? She could have kind of grinded it out a little bit more and been a lot
That's
closer.
what I was hoping, because you know what? It's always a first-round knockout for Cyborg, maybe second tops. You know, so obviously the first time she's ever gone 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So I thought Holly might have the advantage there, but I just, what can you do? You know, I mean, the woman's ridiculous.
She is.
I mean, hats off to her. I mean, she's a beast.
And you know, I'll say,
it just hurts my heart.
I had a feeling Holly Holm was going to win this fight. You know, it wasn't like I was being biased or anything. I know that Cyborg is the best fighter in the world, and sometimes when you have the best fighter in the world, you want to see them challenged. And you want to see maybe an upset, so then they come back and fight again, whatever the case. But either way, I had just a gut feeling that Holly Holm was going to pull this off. And Cyborg almost looked like she was getting tired after that first round. She seemed, for some reason, to me, like her mouth was open and she was breathing a little bit heavy. And I thought maybe she was going to gas out and weather, but man, she didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, she just came back stronger and stronger. And then that 4th and 5th round, her 5th round, man, she was just going full speed ahead. So hats off to her for being a champion. You know, she did what she had to do, and she
Cody
won.
Garbrandt got it right. He picked her.
Yeah.
On this couch.
Yeah.
Khabib got it wrong with me. But
well, Khabib and we all said the same thing.
Too hard. Khabib.
Khabib.
We're gonna sound like assholes in this.
We all pretty much said the same thing as far as, she's the better fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew that. We just
in our
thought that
hearts,
Holly Holm had the chance to beat her,
and she did. She took her to the distance.
And she did.
She got killed in 40 seconds.
And she did land a couple strikes. That one combination, I can't
She
remember what
popped
it
her
was.
nose?
There was one really solid one right toward the end.
I don't remember seeing Cyborg bleed before. So
yeah, well, that's always good when you can say that about a fighter.
I'm trying to pick little.
She
little
bled her own blood, or bled her own blood. The thing is like she did land that one combination. I think toward the end, it was in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
Maybe
it was the very end.
But she landed it and actually set back Cyborg. I mean, it was like a powerful combination. I think I don't know if it connected with that right, but it was a combo, I think. And then she backed up. She backed up as if she got hit, and I was like, no. Yeah, it was at the end. You're right.
It's something like, we're gonna get stuff wrong because we literally just watched it, came straight in here. That
we're still kind of like high on adrenaline too, and I'm so pumped for Khabib.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so excited, man. I wanted him to win this fight so bad. He got so much flack over not making weight, and so many people came down on him and just completely ignored the fact that this is one of the best fighters in the world. And things happen. It's not like he quit. You know, he was in the hospital. This is a warrior. You know, he'll never just pass up a fight.
Yeah. It's got to be either, like you said.
And everything happens for a reason. And I tell you what, this was a statement he made. So I think in the big scheme of things, maybe this is what needed to happen, because this is going to give him a mental edge now against Tony Ferguson
25-0
and Conor McGregor, because the Khabib that Tony was going to fight back then wasn't the same Khabib that we see now. He's even better, even more dominant. So he's going to have that mental edge now going into these fights, I think, where these guys are going to be a little bit more scared of this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you let him get a hold of you, you're going to the ground. And when you go to the ground, it doesn't matter what jiu-jitsu rank you have. It doesn't matter what wrestling pedigree you have. You're going to get
I'm 90% sure that Khabib's never lost a round in the UFC.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be willing to say that.
I'd agree.
I'll put a turkey burger on it.
I mean, getting 10-8 in almost every round this one would definitely counter any of his previous lost rounds
overall,
for sure.
But I think he's never lost a round. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
Maybe. So anyway, that's good. So y'all guys want some content? We wanted to do a breakdown real fast, a recap. Not a breakdown, but a breakdown of the fight.
Speaking of cap, may I?
Oh, there you go.
Hey, big shout out to, let's see, it's Slade, Crystal, and Trevor Schnurple. Hope I'm saying that right, but they made us some hats.
Yeah, big shout out to those guys. Thanks a lot for sending
that. Thank you, guys. Travis is going to spend a year with us coming up.
Nice. AKA Thailand.
18-year-old youngster.
Awesome.
So, thank you for sending us stuff. You know me, I'll always take free shit. So.
And I'm sorry for being rushed. I know we're yelling and talking fast.
Well, we don't even have electricity half the time.
Doing this so fast, but
what other podcast can come from no electricity to a badass finish, huh?
Yeah.
That's why we're number 2, 3 in the world podcast.
I don't know where we rank, but I know we're growing fast, man. We're getting a ton of views.
There's that Joe Rogan
YouTube
guy that's ahead of us.
Guys, if you're listening to the podcast on the audio platforms, iTunes, SoundCloud, I don't even know the other ones. Check it out on YouTube. Yeah, they're definitely worth watching, especially when we got in studio guests like Cody Garbrandt. And I will say that we have Dana White literally, it's pretty safe to say.
I got goosebumps, buddy.
Pretty safe to say on his way. I'm literally leaving tonight to go meet some other people and stuff. He's got a lot of security and a lot of there's a lot of planning going on. But Dana White's coming to visit me finally here after 3 years of me sending him photos and videos and stuff from the gym and from Phuket. And he's finally coming to come see this this beautiful place.
It'll be good to see my old friend.
Yeah,
me and D-Dub. I called him back in the day.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, he used to text me. Well, it was pager back then. Shit. But D-Dub, it'll be good to see you again.
So hopefully we have time. Like, he has only a short amount of time, a few days, but hopefully we'll get him in studio here. And he wants to see a lot of things while he's here, so I'll be taking him around all over. But hopefully we get him in studio here and get a Dana White in studio. That would be pretty awesome.
On the wall next to Cody.
Yeah. And I want to thank you guys for all the support. You guys have been amazing.
Awesome comments.
Thanks for the comments. Please leave comments underneath. Let us know what you think about our breakdown.
Guys, I swear, I promise you, next podcast, I'm going to pick like 6 winners. All right? I'm sorry. It just running the gym. It's high season. It's busy as shit. All these guests coming in. And
we're still going to pick winners. We've already picked some winners from all the previous shows. So all the previous podcasts will have winners and will win free packages. But thanks for the support. We really appreciate it. And we will keep putting content out. We're just rushed right now and trying to get this out because
we're
rushed.
We got really 26 seconds.
We're trying to do this in 30 minutes exactly. So we got
like
literally 20 seconds.
I'm going to wrap it up. You good?
All right. We did it under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we did it okay. And thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.